As human beings, this is what we do. We're always trying to figure out, where do I stand? Am I okay? That's what our brains want to know. We're social creatures, we're social beings. And part of that is us trying to gauge, where are we in the pack?
You are listening to the Decluttering Club podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Mueller, and it's my mission to equip women to declutter their homes, their time, and their lives so that they can cherish what truly matters.
So I wasn't planning on recording a podcast today, but I got an email today and I thought this is something that everybody needs to hear because this is super important. I think this is a very common thing that people feel bad about. So here we are. I am actually in a hotel room right now. I'm in Nashville. I'm recording on my phone. My video editor is not going to be happy, but it is what it is. All right. The email said, I feel like I'm super far behind. This person had signed up for one of our courses, one of our programs, and she felt, and it had been a few weeks, and she felt like she was behind. And she was really upset about it. And I get it, because sometimes it feels like we have to keep up, and it feels like we should be further along. We should have done more. We shouldn't have let things pile up. We should have done more decluttering or organizing or whatever it is. And all of these things pile up in our heads, and then we feel terrible, right? So here's what I want you to know. Life is not a race, and you are not behind, all right? It's not a race. In fact, the finish line is the end for all of us. So we really don't want to get to the finish line. But more importantly than that, I really want you to just be okay with where you are. Wherever you are is exactly where you're supposed to be. Now, you might say, if I feel like that, if you're telling me like that's the truth, then why should I change anything? Why should I fix anything? That if I'm okay with where I am, then I'm never going to make a change. And my answer to that is, the only positive change that you can make is after you have accepted where you are now. You're not going to have a positive result with negative motivation. And that's what we try to do. We try to shame ourselves into making progress, or we try to guilt ourselves into cleaning up. And yeah, it works short term for sure, but who wants to do that? That feels terrible. And chances are, with that kind of motivation, the work doesn't stick and we can't maintain it. So what I want to offer to you is the opposite. Okay? Be okay and really take stock. Where are you right now? What are the facts? I used to feel like this about my business, right? I used to feel like this about my home. And I'd say, oh my gosh, I should be further along. And things aren't working. And the more time we spend thinking like that, the less time we actually spend working. It's a terrible waste of time, right? And so I really want you to just maybe take inventory. What is the truth for you right now? Maybe the truth is you have a scary room. Maybe the truth is that you have donations that have been in the trunk for a week or a month, right? That in and of itself is not a problem. It's literally not. The problem comes in how you think about it. If you think there are donations that have been in my trunk for this many days, and that means I'm a terrible person, then you're going to feel terrible. Or maybe you think it means that you're no good at this decluttering thing, or that you're lazy or whatever. But when we feel like that, it does not make us want to go and drop off the donations. And so it doesn't mean anything until you decide what it means. And you are the one who gets to decide what it means. Nobody else does, right? So just notice that, okay? We have a lot of things going on. We are a community, and I am constantly wanting to add things to our community and have more things for you to do and new ways for you to learn and grow and get to where you want to be. But that doesn't mean that you have to do all of them. It doesn't mean that you have to do all of them in the way that you think is the right way. In fact, the right way to do these things is the way that works for you, not the way that works for your neighbor, not the way that works for me. It's the way that you can do it. So if you are all in on 10 minutes a day, then I say, let's go for it. Let's go. Amazing. If that's your plan and that's what you do, fabulous. Make progress. That is way better than saying, I need to do 3 hours this weekend, and maybe you do 3 hours, but then you're so exhausted and you hate the process so much that you don't do anything and you do nothing on your decluttering for weeks. That's not productive. That's not an effective way to work, but that's what we do. Okay. So I really want you to notice this when this comes up for you, because this comes up for people as human beings. This is what we do. We're always trying to figure out, where do I stand? Am I okay? That's what our brains want to know. We're social creatures, we're social beings. And part of that is us trying to gauge, where are we in the pack? And if we're like in the middle of the pack, or maybe we're in the front of the pack, we feel like, okay, I'm okay now. But if we start to feel like, gosh, I'm slipping to the back, or everyone has left me behind, then we freak out and we panic. But the truth is, there's no pack. There's no race. We're just all doing this together at our own paces. And that is the beauty here. This is not like a race that we're trying to win. This is more like activities that we're doing together so that we all win. Isn't that the most wonderful thing ever? When we work together, we can all win. There doesn't have to be one winner or two winners. We can all succeed, and that's going to look different for each person. I can't tell you how many times people have said to me, it may not be much, but, and then they go on to tell me what they did. And I'm like, wait a second, what do you mean it may not be much? That sounds like amazing. That sounds like everything. What you just described sounds like a huge breakthrough. And why don't we take credit for this? Like, it does matter. It does count. So stop belittling, stop discounting the things that you have done, and stop telling yourself that you're behind, because you're not. There's no behind. You're just where you are, right? This is not a road trip that you are waiting to get to the destination, right? This is just life. This is just the journey that we are all on. And guess what? It's so much better if we can enjoy the journey instead of waiting till the end to enjoy ourselves. That's not ideal. It's not what I want for you. I want you to be okay with where you are right now, and I also want you to be willing to do the work. And why do we do the work if we're okay where we are right now? This is the question. If we don't have shame and guilt and anger and whatever to motivate us, then why do we do anything? Well, here's the answer. We do things because we want to, because we want to see what's possible, because we want to challenge ourselves. We do things because we want to grow. We do things because it feels good. Have you ever noticed how good it feels to check something off your list? That's positive motivation. That is useful motivation. That is motivation that serves you. So that is why you will take action. And it's so much easier to take action when you're not judging yourself. Okay. So yes, we do have programs and we have calendars, and we'll send you emails when you join our core membership. We'll send you emails letting you know what's going on. But these are suggestions for you. And we want you to pick and choose what works best for you. And do I want you to dig deep? Yes, I do. Do I want you to challenge yourself? 100%, but not at your own expense and not in a way that makes you feel terrible. Okay, so yes, I am going to encourage you to grow, but I'm also going to encourage you to grow in the knowledge that it's okay where you are. Okay, your stuff is neutral, your house is neutral, the boxes, the papers, it's all neutral. And what does that mean? That means it's not good and it's not bad. Did you know? Let's say your house is exactly the way you want it and it's perfect in every way, and there's not a speck of dust and everything is in its place. That's neutral. That is neutral. Not good or bad until you decide it's good or bad. And the same if your house is completely not the way you want it. Okay, so we have to be careful what kinds of stories that we let our brains tell us, because our brains unsupervised will tell us that everything is horrible and it's all going to hell and like it sucks and it's awful and it's a nightmare. That's what your brain wants you to believe, because your brain doesn't want you to be happy. Your primitive brain, your habit brain, it just wants you to stay put. It doesn't like change. And so you cleaning up is change, and that feels a little bit threatening or a lot threatening. Okay, so that's why your brain is willing to tell you all of these things. Right? And it's your job, right? It's the logical part of your brain. That part of your brain, it's that part of your brain's job to say, actually, this is not a disaster. I am okay. This is fine. I have the help I need. I've got support. The Decluttering Club is here. I have my community. We are in this together. And yeah, maybe it feels awful right now. Or maybe I feel like I'm behind, but it's actually not the truth. And when you insist on that, when you remind yourself that over and over again, then you will start to relax and you will start to unwind. And then all of that energy that you have been putting towards feeling terrible, takes a lot of work to feel terrible. Did you know that? It does. It takes a lot of energy to feel miserable and terrible. And when you relax and when you are okay and you start to just accept where you are, you free up that energy to doing productive things and to then doing the work that you want to do. Okay. So please hear me when I say you're not behind. This is not a race, and you're exactly where you need to be. And if you want to make a change, if you want to make progress, that is available to you. Okay. That's what I have for you today. Enjoy the podcast. Talk to you soon.
That's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed this podcast, would you leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts? It would really help us get the word out. To start your decluttering journey, go to thedeclutteringclub.com/start. That's declutteringclub.com/start.